Good evening, Huskies, and welcome to our second of three All-Alumni Advisory Committee conference calls. My name is Josh Prue, and I'm the Director of Alumni Engagement here at the UConn Office of Alumni Relations, and I'm going to be your moderator tonight. On behalf of the UConn Foundation, we're excited for today's discussion and to be able to bring some updates and some of the great work that you all have been doing and continue to plan for the current year. We also have another great UConn VIP with some insider information for you all. So sit tight and put on your speakers and your headphones and enjoy some information from us this evening. We're excited to announce that we have 21 of our 33 groups represented on the call today. But before we get started, I have a couple of housekeeping notes as usual. Everyone has a questions toolbar on their control panel, so should something come up that you would like to inquire about or ask for follow-up questions, please feel free to type them into that section. And time permitting, in each area, we will go ahead and answer as many of those as we can. Second, the presentation is being recorded, so barring any technical issues, we'll post this to youtube.com/UConn Alumni before the end of the week. First off, as per usual, we usually like to introduce who's on the team because we know that many of you don't get a chance to work with all of us on a regular basis. So to get started, Jody Kaplan, our Alumni Relations Senior Director, oversees our alumni office in the absence of our Vice President, Mo Cotton Kelly. She also oversees this engagement team, and Jody's been with us for just about 20 years now. Chris Diaz oversees our alumni affinity groups, our African American Alumni Council, the Latino-Latina Alumni Council, our LGBTQ alumni group, our UConn Alumni Marching Band, Lacrosse Alumni, and our Asian American Alumni Council. And she also works with our alumni networks in Charlotte, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., and Florida, which includes Tampa, South Florida, and Orlando. And Chris has been with the alumni office for just about 11 years. Myself, I work with our alumni groups in Hartford, New York City, Philadelphia, San Diego, San Francisco, LA, Colorado, Arizona, Seattle, Chicago, Austin, Dallas, Houston, and Sacramento. And I also work with the Center for Career Development, as well as our alumni career offer to offer our apologies, tongue twister, work with our Center for Career Development to collaborate on alumni career service offerings. And I've been with the office for 6 years now. Matt Fraulino, who works with the rest of our New England groups, includes Boston, New Haven, Fairfield County, Southeast Connecticut, and also includes Vermont. Matt also works with our groups in Ohio, including Cincinnati and Columbus, and Matt has been going on 4 years now with the alumni office. And last but not least is our linchpin here, Lauren Davies. She's our administrative assistant for the team. She's the backbone to most of the work that we do, and many of you have had interactions with her, and you all know her, the greatness that she brings to the table. So she is responsible for all of your event boxes, registration pages, keeping us in line, and event attendance and tracking, budget and payment tracking, and the list goes on. And Lauren's been with us now for just about 3 years. So that's our engagement team. Before we jump into our first presenter tonight, I'm going to turn it over to Jody, who's got a friendly public service announcement for everyone.
Well, hi, everyone. As Josh said, I'm going on 20 years with Alumni Relations, and I have to say that we have the strongest team ever today. And they work directly with you, so you see the type of strength we have coming from Alumni Relations. But we couldn't do it without you all. And it's my pleasure to just give you a big thank you, because we cannot succeed without what you're doing at in the 33 groups that are both regional and affinity based. In Alumni Relations, our #1 goal is to increase alumni engagement. And you're all making us look really, really good, because we are hitting that goal out of the park this year. Just to give you a few highlights, the New York City group has consistently brought huge numbers when we do a pregame reception at Legends before Madison Square Garden games. Our Welcome to the Neighborhood initiative, which many of you took part in September, saw 1,235 registrants this year, which represents 51% increase over last year's Welcome to the Neighborhood events. Our 1881 series, which is our UConn Alumni Limited Release Beer Series, which happens all over Connecticut, is halfway through now. We have 12 events scheduled for this year, and we've only completed 7 of them. We've already had 600 registrants with those 7 events. And that number represents 51% increase over last year's events and we still have 5 events to go. So we might hit 100% increase in that 1881 series. One of the really exciting things about this 1881 series is our professional organization, CASE, the Council of Advancement and something,
Supportive Education.
Supportive Education awarded our program, the 1881 series, a bronze medal for alumni programming for all constituencies. This is a huge honor, and Josh Prue is the quarterback of this event, and this is just a really exciting honor. We have a lot of schools across the country now who are looking to us to find out how we do this event and how they could do this type of event in their states. A little later in the program tonight, Josh is going to give you statistics on our Elevate program, which are just outstanding, but I'm not going to tell you any of it until Josh speaks about it later. But just know that you make a huge difference to us, and you are helping us kill our goals for this year of increasing alumni engagement. So thanks again for your participation.
Thank you,
Josh.
Jody. Appreciate it. And we will roll on. So today I have this special honor of welcoming our first speaker of the day, who is Jim Lowe. Jim Lowe is the Assistant Vice Provost and Executive Director for the University Center for Career Development. Prior to his appointment in the Provost's office, Jim has also served as the Assistant Dean, Executive Director, External Relations and Outreach for UConn School of Business, where he oversaw the undergraduate and MBA populations, career development programs and initiatives, as well as the Veterans Affairs, Diversity Initiatives, Marketing, Communications, and External Relations departments there. He has worked for a number of brand name companies from Lee Hecht Harrison and beyond, and where he really focused on engagement and opportunities with Fortune 1000 companies, as well as served in other senior level positions, as I mentioned, for other household name companies throughout his career. Jim is a proud Fairfield University graduate, and he joins us today. Jim, thank you so much for coming and spending some time with us and sharing some insight into the great things that the Center for Career Development is working on with our alumni and leaders throughout the country tonight.
Thanks so much, Josh, and Jody as well, for having me on the call. I appreciate the time, and I appreciate all the alumni who are taking time out of their very busy schedules to join us on this call this evening. So what I'd actually like to do is start off by talking a little bit about the offerings of the Center for Career Development, both in person and virtual, and then move on to some of the accomplishments of the CCD to give you all a sense of the size and scope of the work we do. Then we'll move into first destination and recent student success. And then what you're all waiting for is how alumni can better engage with career activities. And then we'll move on to questions and answers. So just as a brief overview, the Center for Career Development actually provides services to all students on all campuses. So there was a point in time where we really didn't focus on our regional campuses, but I'm happy to say through the support of the university, we now have staff on every single campus, because all of our students are Huskies and they all deserve the same level of service, and that's what we're providing today. And that's not only to undergraduate students, but it's to our graduate students as well. A little point of note, and just pack this away for later, we also provide services to our alumni, and I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail in a bit. Essentially, our department and the services that we offer here at UConn are centered around 7 areas of best practice as outlined by the National Association of Colleges and Employers. And we're key players with the National Association, and we've actually won several national awards over the past couple of years. We continue to be subject matter experts in terms of speaker series for them, as well as keynote speakers at their national conventions, and really look to our National Association to guide the principles around equitable career services for all of our students. But we are actually a very loud voice within that organization, sharing our best practices with other institutions around the country. So that's just a little bit of an overview of who we are and how we operate. But I wanted to give you a sense of some of the offerings that we have right now. And for student-based offerings, we really break them up into 2 distinct areas: our one-on-one career coaching, and then our sponsored events and programs. So we work with students one-on-one to choose a major, explore career options, develop their professional presence, whether it's online or through a resume or a cover letter. We conduct practice interviews. We talk about internships, co-ops. Big movement right now is to make sure that all students have a LinkedIn account. And I think that's particularly interesting from the advice that we give them as they're starting to explore careers is to link with alumni in those industries to get kind of the real world sense of, is this the right job for me? Not a job interview, but just more advisory. And then we also advise students on how to prepare for graduate school. 22% of our graduates, undergraduate graduates actually go on to advanced learning. And then we have our sponsored events and programs. We have career fairs, networking events, on-campus interviewing, career nights, all sorts of series, specialty events, internship weekend, and the list goes on and on and on. So as you're listening, if you want to just jot down our website, because all of the information I'm talking to you about tonight is actually contained on our website, and that's career.uconn.edu. So that being said, those are kind of a very broad overview of our offerings. I want to move to some of our individual accomplishments on the next slide to give you a sense of kind of the size. Actually, no, I'm sorry. We'll talk about virtual offerings for just a second, and then we're going to come back to this. We decided about 5 years ago, early in my tenure here at the CCD, that we were never going to have the resources to engage with every single student and every single alumni one-on-one, in-person, face-to-face. So we've actually developed a website that's nationally recognized as one of the top 10 career websites in the nation to really provide all of the services that we give to students here face-to-face on our stores campus and regional campuses, but to provide those virtually so that students could do this remotely. So there are a couple of services on there. CCD On Demand is one of the newest ones we have. We have upwards of 70 videos, short vignettes that we've created that really go to the issues that the students are most interested in, and I'll talk about some success on that in just a minute. Husky Career Link is our major platform, and via Husky Career Link, students can post their resumes, employers post their jobs, alumni can actually post their resumes as well to connect students and employers virtually for those students who are either not here on campus, can't be here on campus, or at the same time there are many employers that are not within the region who want to source UConn talent, so we give them that opportunity as well. And then we do have some other offerings on our website. Vault is a great research tool that individuals would have to pay for to get access to. We provide that free to all of our students and alumni. Big Interview is actually an awesome tool where you can go in and actually construct a virtual interview and then hit a start button, and a screen will ask you questions. You will respond to those interview questions while it's recording you, and then you can play it back so that you can critique yourself. We also have the ability to send those videos to one of our career consultants, and then they can critique it and have a one-on-one session, either virtually over the phone or in person, to give you tips and pointers on how you're doing, articulating your value proposition, talking about your successes, answering general interview questions. We also have Going Global, which is a really great tool for students who are interested in international careers. And then a program that we launched about a year ago is Husky Mentor Network. And that's really an opportunity for alumni to sign up and serve as mentors, and students to sign up, and we connect them virtually. We have over 1,000 alumni on the Husky Mentor Network right now, and about 1,200 students taking advantage of that program. We're continually looking at other technologies to support both our alumni and our students from a career standpoint, and two big ones that are in progress right now are called Burn & Glass and Portfolium. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on those, but we've actually contracted for those, and those will be rolled out in the fall. So that being said, and I know I'm kind of rambling through a lot of information here, but as I said earlier, all of this detail is contained on our website. So let's talk a little bit about some of our recent accomplishments to give you a sense of the size and scope of the operation and how we really do support students here from a career standpoint. We fully rolled out a new career services management platform in August of 2018, right before the start of the fall semester. Since that time, there have been over 10,000 unique logins, and that equals our 2017-2018 entire academic year of 10,700. So we're looking to perhaps hit that 20,000 mark, almost doubling what we had last year, and that's just through increased access, the ability to access all of our information on mobile devices, and just the overall look, feel, and functionality of the site. Spent about 2 years constructing that site. We've been very excited about the results to date. One of the other things that the Center for Career Development is responsible for is what we call our first destination outcomes. So we survey all students at graduation, 3 months after graduation, and then 6 months after graduation. This past year, we had the highest knowledge rate, so we know of 72% of our graduating seniors, where they are and what they're doing 6 months after graduation. And happy to report that positive outcomes, and I'll go through a slide on this in just a minute for a little bit more detail, but 88% of our students are indicating a positive career outcome 6 months post-graduation through our surveys. That number is about 2% higher than the national average, so we're very excited about how our students are exiting UConn and where they're landing and the types of things that they're doing. I mentioned earlier in our virtual offerings that CCD On Demand was launched in August. It's an online library that houses over 70 career-related videos. We've had 4,000 views on that since inception in August 2018. Just to give you a sense, 6 years ago, the Center for Career Development was seeing about 4,000 students across all of our platforms. Now we're seeing 4,000 student views in just one of our platforms. So that just gives a sense of how we've expanded over the past 5 or 6 years in terms of our service offerings and what we've been doing. From a career fair standpoint, last year, 880 employers were actually on campus at career fairs, with over 6,700 students attending those career fairs. Again, that's about double the number that we had 4 years ago. We actually, this past year, conducted a record 514 formal presentations, both here on the Stores campus as well as our regional campuses, that were attended by over 9,000 students. And the big number that I am so excited about is that our career.uconn.edu, which is our main website, received a record 667,000 page views, with 10,700 students active in Husky Career Link. So those are students who are actually posting resumes, applying to jobs. So that's a huge number when you take a look at our total student population. So that's just a sense of some of the numbers that we like to talk about to give folks a sense of the size and scope of our operation here and how we've grown over the past 6 or 7 years. So this next slide is something that we talk about all the time, and actually I've been asked to give testimony to Connecticut State Legislature on several occasions around these numbers. And basically, 88% of students 6 months post-graduation are reporting that, yeah, they're doing something meaningful. 63% of them are employed, 22% are in continuing education. That number is a little bit higher than the national average, and that's really driven by programs that we have here, the 4-in-1 programs, where students can go 4 years undergraduate and then 1 additional year to get a master's degree in our School of Education, our School of Nursing, as well as engineering. So that's why that number is a little bit higher than the national average. We've got about 1% serving in the U.S. Armed Forces, 1% participating in volunteer service, and then 1% in other. And that other is, I'm not looking for a job and I'm not unhappy about that. So I really want to talk to the parents of that 1% saying, you know, what are they doing? So the reality is, as we've reached out to that particular student population, a lot of them are taking what they consider sort of a gap year. They're taking, you know, they're traveling, they're engaging in community service. A lot of different things comprise that 1%. The big number that we look at from an economic development standpoint and giving back to the state of Connecticut for their support of UConn is the number of students who actually stay in the state after they graduate. There's always been a lot of anecdotal talk about, yes, students come to UConn, they get all this great education, and then they flee the state. But what we've been able to demonstrate is that 73% of those students who are actually state residents, attended high school in Connecticut, who are employed, remain working in the state. And then another number that we really like to talk about is 100% of Fortune 100 companies headquartered in Connecticut recruit and hire UConn graduates, and they hire them in pretty substantial numbers. I'll just talk about the next slide very briefly. So as we take a look at that next slide, it talks about our top hiring employers. No surprise that the Aetnas, the Cignas, the Hartfords, and Travelers are huge employers in the state of Connecticut and take on a lot of our students. Electric Boat is probably one of our biggest employers for our engineering students. We do have a lot of hiring going on in Hartford Hospital. And as you take a look at somebody like Hartford Hospital, probably 10 years ago, the only students that a Hartford Hospital was hiring would have been our nursing students. Now they're hiring students in their marketing department and their IT department, all their back of the house. So even with Aetna and Cigna and the insurance companies, where at one time it was really the bastion for the actuarial students, now they're hiring in all the disciplines because these companies are huge global companies that have huge infrastructure needs, and they're coming to UConn students to actually satisfy that talent pipeline. An interesting thing that we always take a look at is experiential learning, internships, co-ops, those types of things, that the students are learning more than just what they learn in the classroom. So 80% of graduates with positive outcomes reported that they participated in some sort of meaningful experiential learning outside of the classroom. That number is about 5% higher than the national average. And then 66% of graduates say they utilize the Center for Career Development sometime during their time at UConn. So that's a little bit about our first destination, where students are going, how they're landing. That number, and the CCD has been tracking that number now for the past 4 years, and every year that number continues to increase, which really tells us that the value of a UConn degree continues to increase as our rankings increase, as our students are entering the workforce or going on to additional degrees in higher education, that it's a win-win for everybody all around. So let's go quickly then to how alumni can engage. So there's a big misconception out there that you graduate, you move on, and there are no services available to you here. Well, any alumni who is 3 years post-graduation is able to take full access of all of the services that the Center for Career Development offers. They can come to career fairs if they're local in the area. They can have access to our website and all of our web services. They can meet with career consultants one-on-one, either in person or on the phone or via Skype. So they, for all intents and purposes, we view them as still being a UConn student. They get access to everything that we offer. Past that 3-year point, we provide one complimentary one-on-one session, and again, that's either in person or over the phone or via Skype, but they're still allowed to attend all career fairs here on campus and have access to all of our virtual services. And again, a student never has to walk into the CCD to really engage in career exploration and career search and job search. All of those services have been turned into virtual offerings as well, so they have access to that. Something else that they also have access to is a partnership that we have with ProTem Partners, and Josh is the connection there. But ProTem is a national consulting executive performance career coaching firm, and all alumni have access to one complimentary 90-minute career advisory session with the consultants at ProTem. And then past that, if they decide to engage with them in additional conversations, there is a fee, but UConn alumni get a 15% discount of those professional services. So there's a lot that we offer to alumni, and we continue to see alumni coming to our career fairs, being engaged on campus, and taking full advantage of the services that we offer. So that's how alumni can get something from us. One of the ways that they can give back, and some of this is kind of mutual, is if they're working for a company, they can recruit on campus. They can post their jobs virtually on our career site. They can engage with my staff on a number of different levels by serving on panels, that 500 and some odd sessions that I mentioned earlier that we conduct every year. A lot of those, I would say probably 80% of the panelists on those panels are UConn alums. We host career nights, specialty events, all of those types of things. Alumni can reach out to us, and we can, indicate to them where the best pairing or best matching would be on those types of events, and actually have them back to campus and have them give back to our students who are developing their careers. And then finally, the Husky Mentor Network. Again, I mentioned that earlier, but I think that's a great program. It's a great way for alum to give back and stay connected with UConn students. But that's something that as we take a look at it, we're going to continue to grow that program. So I know I kind of rattled through that really quickly, but I am very open to taking some questions, and I believe you do that through the chat function, and then those will go to Josh, and then Josh will ask me, and I'll do my best to answer any questions you may have at this point in time.
Thanks very much, Jim. Yep, he's correct. If you want to use the question section on your toolbar, feel free to write those in now. We'll ask those of Jim. Jim, one question did come in so far regarding the Husky Career Link. Is that something you had briefly mentioned that it's accessible to alumni? Is that an easy process to sign up, and what would someone do to go ahead and gain access to that?
Okay, great question. So we actually have two parts to the career.uconn.edu. There's the public piece of it that anybody can just go on our website and take a look at what we're putting out there publicly. Some of the premier or premium functions on that, you do need access. So it's as simple as calling the Center for Career Development, and there are instructions right on our website on how to do that. And they will guide you through the process. It's a fairly simple process. It's just a matter of being given an access code, then you create a password for it, and you're in, and you have access to everything that's on that site.
Great. Next question that came in is in regards to if their company is recruiting, what are the steps necessary? Who should they contact to get that working?
Yep. So if the company is recruiting, I have my staff broken down into a couple of different teams. One of the fastest growing team I have, and I have 5 individuals on this team, is our corporate partner relations team. So the best person to reach out to on that would probably be Bob Vole. Bob's phone number is, and we can add this information to this deck so that you have it online. But the best way to reach Bob is at 860-486-8346. That's 860-486-8346. Bob is the Director of Corporate Partner Relations. And basically, we do vet all employers who post jobs on our website. So Bob will walk you through the process or refer you to one of his colleagues to get back to you. But we make sure that it's a legitimate business, that it's a legal business, that there are meaningful jobs there. It's not, we do preclude some types of businesses that require students to pay an upfront fee or that are commission only. So we have actually on our website, if you do take a look at the website, there's an employer link on there, and it gives directions to post a position, recruit on campus, attend a career fair, and then the last bucket on that is employer guides, resources, and policies. So again, our website is pretty specific in terms of how to do all those things, and it's really a very easy process. One of the things that we're real big on is removing any kind of roadblock. So if an employer has viable jobs for our students, we try to make it as easy as possible for them to get in front of the students.
Great, thank you. And the last question I have so far, and if anybody wants to chime in, they feel free to type those in, is what are steps that the university are taking to maintain top talent within the state of Connecticut?
Oh, good question. So we're doing a bunch of things. One of the things that we're doing is, as we take a look specifically at the state of Connecticut, is that this corporate partner relations team, even though they're all based here in stores, they are blanketing the state in terms of connecting with employers that are either headquartered in the state or have significant presence in the state. So we've developed a continuum, and basically the continuum is 4 steps, and it's really a sales process. So we take a look at who are our prospects, who are the companies that are in the state of Connecticut that we want to partner with, that we don't have a relationship now with. Our next bucket in the continuum are employers that maybe post a job, maybe reach out to us on occasion, but they're really not on campus, they're not a visual presence. Our next group, as we move up the continuum, are those that we're not quite partnering with yet, but they're coming to career fairs, they're posting jobs on a regular basis, they're perhaps coming to campus to serve as panelists, they're really engaged, but they're not full partners yet. And then we have about 25 companies, all Connecticut-based with the exception of 2, that we're full partnership with. They sponsor our events. I have an employer advisory council that consists of about 22 senior recruiters from mostly Connecticut-based companies that meet 4 times a year. And those meetings are really intended to establish, what are your needs as employers, and how can we as an institution, through our student talent, better satisfy those needs. So for example, in our last meeting, we talked about what is the biggest reason that new hires right out of college do not make it through their first year, so that we could start getting information from the employers that we could educate the students on. And, remarkably, the #1 reason students or new hires get let go from their first job out of college is for attendance reasons. So if you think about it, when you're in university, nobody's making you go to class. Nobody's making you show up on time. That's all on you. And then you get into the workforce, and most of the employers were saying they don't have a sense of what are the true rules for engaging in the workforce. And the biggest offender is showing up to work on time, not calling in when you're going to be out sick, those types of things. One of the other things that we've done to address that particular issue is we are launching a senior year experience course in the fall that's going to be run by the CCD, and that's specifically on the transition from UConn to the real workforce. We host an event every year. It's called Beyond UConn, and we cover a lot of those types of topics in that particular half-day seminar. That is being turned into a credit-bearing course that will be launched in the fall, so that students who are interested in their career development and their career success can engage in that course. We're proposing 2 sections of it, 40 students in each section as our first pilot, and we're hoping to grow that. My ultimate goal is that would be a requirement for all seniors. I don't know that I'll ever get there because there's something known as the University Faculty Senate that approves all this stuff, but we are making strides to get that information in front of our students.
Great.
Did that answer the question?
I think so. There was a lot of information there. Hopefully somewhere in there that accomplished the goal. All right. And last, Jim, I'm putting up your contact information, obviously the website here, for folks if they have any further questions. They can obviously contact the staff in your office or go through us, and we can make some introductions and connections as well. If there is ever any questions about where to start, if you can't remember Bob's information or need something, any of us from the alumni office can also make that introduction for you to the right connections that you need over at the Center for Career Development.
Right, and the other thing that I'll just throw out there is that on our website, career.uconn.edu, we do have About Us, and it has a list of all of my staff as well as what their functions are and brief bios. So, the easiest way is my email address is jim.lowe@uconn.edu. So if you do have additional questions, feel free to reach out to me. But if you know that you're looking to, recruit student talent, you can go on the website and take a look at our corporate partner relations team, reach out to somebody there. But the easiest way is just to reach out to me, and then I'll be able to direct you to who you actually need to talk to.
Great. Thank you so much again, Jim. Appreciate you taking a chunk of time out of your day tonight and spending it with us and sharing some insight with our leaders throughout the country this evening. Greatly appreciate that. I'm sure they got some great information from us tonight, and we can't thank you enough for your partnership as always.
Oh, no worries. Was happy to do it. And again, for the folks on the call, if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to reach out to me.
Thanks again, Jim. We appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. You too.
All right, everybody. Moving along, we're going to jump right into some quick branding things. Just a quick, gentle reminder, as you are promoting all of your events, just to use some extra care and caution when you're using the official UConn brands. Obviously, the UConn alumni brands that you see listed here, you can go ahead and utilize those at your leisure. But remember when using your alumni branded handles. So, for example, a lot of you maintain Twitter handles that have such as Hartford alumni or New York City alumni or San Francisco alumni. If you're operating under those Twitter handles or those Instagram handles, just a quick reminder that when you are utilizing those, people are looking at you as a representation of the university. So just a quick reminder to use those brands appropriately and be thoughtful, especially when using those official UConn brands that are out there. If you have any questions, obviously there's a lot of restrictions surrounding the use of the Husky. So if you do have any questions, please make sure that you contact your liaison and we can work with you to make sure that all of those are done in the appropriate way. Also, last piece tied to this, just a quick reminder, please do not tag any of our student athletes in any of your posts. Obviously, there's a lot of reasons involved there, from NCAA to just privacy pieces. We want to make sure that our student athletes remain that, and students, although they are a part of the brand of the university and the front porch, as President Herbst often says, we want to make sure that we give them the privacy and don't need to encourage that within our social community. So if we can ask you to do that, that would be appreciated. Moving right along, we're going to jump right into our Elevate wrap up or recap here. Give me 1 second. I'm just working on one quick thing on the side here. I just want to make sure I take care of for everybody. All right. So moving right along, as we recap, Elevate was our month-long initiative that is geared towards providing career and professional development opportunities to enhance the career trajectory by giving exclusive access to career experts, recruiters, C-level individuals within various industries. And obviously, we had a great month in January. We operated from the second week of January on to the end. We had 3 weeks of activities and 16 events nationwide. Programs range from career workshops targeting work-life balance, personal branding, communication strategies, even building a career while using your UConn degree, one of which that actually Jim was actually the moderator for here in Hartford, to discussions surrounding the new tax laws and implications and policies that you might need to be aware of, and corporate panel discussions such as iHeartMedia in New York City, Indeed.com in Fairfield County, Expedia in Chicago, discussions with Google and Greylock Partners out in California. So we really ran the gamut and provided some exclusive offerings for our folks throughout the country. And what we wanted to highlight next is just one quick thing that came out of the panel discussion at iHeartMedia. John Peterson, who many of this call may know from his many years of involvement and service to the alumni community, he's one of the co-founders of our New York City Alumni chapter and this New York City Scholarship Fund. He currently sits as the CFO of iHeartMedia in New York City. John was gracious enough to host us at their Manhattan offices in early January, and also brought out the Senior Vice President of Human Resources to speak with folks about the life within iHeartMedia, what it takes to get a job there, and different steps that they might be able to do to kind of bring their resume to the top of the pile. While speaking to the impact that UConn has made on his career, John highlighted a few things that shook everyone in a positive way that was in the audience. And if you've seen this out on our social media, we've kind of put it out on all the different channels. There's a video that's out there. And unfortunately, I can't play the video for you here. It's just not, it didn't work when we tried it earlier. He touted that we need to use our network. He says NYU and Penn are using theirs, and we need to leverage the one that we have. He also stated that we need to make UConn first. And that's how we're going to make the network bigger, better, and improve and help each other along the way. He then went on to state, in front of an audience of 100+ people and at an event that we absolutely did record. So you can also find that here listed. If you look to the bottom right, you can see it's listed at youtube.com/UConn Alumni. He stated, I believe it's my job as a senior elder statesman to help the next generation of Huskies, and that he will take a meeting with someone from UConn for absolutely any reason. And that's an astounding thing to say in a person in his position. And I can tell you right now that he's absolutely true to his word. I've heard him say that a million times, and he continues to say it. So what we took away from this is that people are excited about these type of opportunities. They want to give back. They want to help. And there's greatness living out there throughout the entire Husky community. And I think that this really was one of those more exciting and impactful messages that we were excited and hopeful for when we launched this program 2 years ago at this point. And this is the type of Husky pride that wherever you attended this month, we're hopeful that you saw that kind of resonate. Moving on, we're going to jump into a little bit of feedback and insight from all of you who might have attended. To get us started, we're going to jump out to the Bay Area. And Amanda, I know you're waiting patiently on the other end. Amanda, can you hear me now?
Yep. Can you hear me?
We can. So everybody, this is the goal. She's going to talk to us a little bit about what San Francisco did this week. Or sorry, not this week, last month. Amanda, take it away.
Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you for inviting me to the call. I just want to mention that I graduated in 2009, but this was actually the first event that I attended since I've been living back in the Bay Area since 2010. I received information in the mail, and it was super helpful, and I made the effort to go up to San Francisco that night. And I just really liked the fact that there was some networking that went on in the beginning, and then we had 2 guest speakers, as you can see in the picture in front of us. And it was just a great way, again, to network with other UConn alumni that are in the Bay Area out here in San Francisco. It was at a hotel kind of downtown, which was great. The big idea was, the impact that UConn can have on various careers and different opportunities. It was a free event, and there was also adult beverages, so I think that kind of helped too. But in general, just was really happy that I was able to go out and connect with other UConn people since I graduated almost 10 years ago now. And because I was able to do that, I made connections with what I'm doing currently in my personal life as a principal of an elementary school, but then I'm looking forward to expanding the network here and collaborating with people from like Josh in the East Coast, and then so he can help here and I can just expand the network. So that's a little bit about my experience. Hopefully that answers some questions, but again, it was a great opportunity and I appreciated all the thought that went into it. It was a very well put together event.
Thanks, Amanda. And we've recruited her to be part of our alumni network leadership out there. So I think that's the other part that we are excited about. So Amanda, thank you for joining us and sharing your experience there.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Amanda at this point? All right. So moving on, if there are any, Amanda, I'll unmute you then, but thank you again. We're going to move on to our Fairfield County and talk with savvy veteran Richard Suarez. Rich, hang on one second. Let me try to get this working here. There we go. Rich, can you talk for us? Let us know you're there.
I'm here.
There we go. Perfect.
Can you
How
hear
you doing,
me?
Rich?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me join this call and be able to present the wonderful event we had at the UConn Stanford campus. Before I start, just for those of you who perhaps don't know me, I obviously am a UConn alumni, graduated in '97 in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. After working for a few years, went back for my part-time MBA also at the University of Connecticut, graduated in '04. And I live in Fairfield County, but I've been working in New York City, in Manhattan, for 15 plus years. So, and I've been involved with the alumni chapter here in Fairfield County, working with Matt and Josh and other folks, and attend events occasionally in New York City as well. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I wanted to talk briefly about a wonderful opportunity that we hosted at the UConn Stanford branch on January 8th last month. We had one of our own UConn alums, Christina Rippo, who's a 2015 graduate. She joined us to talk about the culture of Indeed. For some of you, I think most of you know Indeed is a recruiting firm. She really talked to us about what it's like to work for the company and how people can best utilize Indeed for effective job searches that yield specific types of jobs that we're looking for, that the individual is looking for, and how to put our best foot forward so that we're recognized and we can find that job and that career path that we're looking for. Additionally, she was joined by UConn Alumni's preferred career coach, John Brady, which some of you may have met and have heard of. He also joined to offer his thoughts on how best to present ourselves as well to recruiters that are using the Indeed platform to find talent. The discussion included organizational culture and innovation at Indeed and using Indeed as a job search tool. It was a free event. It was well attended. We had 41 registrants with 26 attendees for an event, a career and educational event here in Fairfield County. That's very good attendance. So it was a wonderful event. I extremely enjoyed it. I also wanted to segue from the presentation that Jim Lowe did. I'm a mentor for UConn. I'm not sure if it's directly through Jim's particular division there at UConn, but being a UConn MBA, the School of Business reached out to me, and for the past few years, I've been a mentor to a UConn MBA student. And I take the opportunity to speak with them, bring them into my network, introduce them to people, and if they're coming into New York City, to host them or have lunch and just continue that network. It's been a successful program. I've actually had other UConn MBAs who are not participating in the MBA mentor program reach out to me directly because I was referred to by my mentee, and have great conversations with them, and have had them in the city if they're there visiting, other companies, to have lunch with them and get to know them, and really just increase the UConn Husky alumni network with that. That's pretty much all I have to say. Does anyone have any questions about the particular event?
Thanks, Rich. At the moment, nothing's come through. If something comes in specific to Fairfield, we'll make sure we unmute you again. But thank you so much for joining us and sharing your insight.
Thank you.
All right. We are now going to jump to the nation's capital and talk to another savvy veteran, Allison Masters. Allison, are you there with us?
I am. Hi, Josh and everyone.
Thanks, Allison, for joining us. Can you talk to us a little bit about what DC was up to in January for Elevate?
Sure. Let me just, it was a great event. We had one of the UConn, I'm sorry, Josh, is the slide switching to?
It is. It was just delayed. I apologize.
No, I feel bad because I could not remember his name, but John Brady was wonderful enough to speak to a pretty diverse group of alumni down in DC. He spoke about influencing without direct authority, which was wonderful. Talked a lot about what you can do to improve your own position at your work through your networking, through making sure it's the right fit for you. And then what I thought was really nice touch, he stayed afterwards to answer anyone's specific questions. He passed out his card and really made himself available to the different alumni that were there.
Great. And how many people did you have attend? If I can ask, did you mention that? I'm sorry.
No, we had about 25 people there, and it was great because some of the people I've definitely seen before. I've been in DC for about 7 years now, and then there were a lot of also fresh faces that were very interested in the Elevate program.
Great. And the City Club is just located right down the street on Pennsylvania Avenue, right?
Yeah, it was a great location, 2 blocks from the White House, but it was nice because the City Club is a private location in Washington, D.C., so I don't think anyone who had attended the event was a member. So we all got a little insider's view.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. If there are any questions about any of these programs, feel free to type those in. Allison, not seeing any at the moment, but always great to catch up, and it's been a long time, so we should. And thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Take care. All right, moving right along. Here's the information Jody alluded to earlier. As you can see, numbers blew things through the roof. As you can see, comparatively from the first year we did this program to this year, we can see that our numbers saw just tremendous growth. We absolutely destroyed the numbers from year 1 to year 2, a 108% increase in total registrants, an absolutely astounding number in terms of year-over-year growth and increase. And everybody should be incredibly proud of the work you did locally to rally the troops and get folks to attend. Over 650 people registered this year, and 30% of those folks had never, ever registered for an alumni event before. When we've talked about broad-based and the broadest level of engagement that we can kind of do and bring to the table, this is what we're talking about. When we can get that many new people involved, that is a home run. Additionally, 43% of those who did register are already supporters of the university financially, so that's always a good thing to have. And again, as we touted last year when we looked at these numbers, it's really a cool concept when you can see the age range ranging from current students at age 19 all the way up to folks that are 83 years old. So as you can see, we continue to help and service our alums, even current students, and engage them regardless of where they are in terms of their careers. So absolutely wonderful job, everybody. Great work. And then moving on, another piece here to kind of highlight and put a feather in our cap. We did survey everybody again this year. And one of the things that we did that was a little bit different, our fantastic Lauren sent out the survey link every Friday to that week's slate of completed events. So we felt that if they were receiving it, the survey a lot earlier, say within 3 or 4 days of the event, the likelihood of them completing it was even greater, and the information was more timely and relevant. So as a result, we received over 100 surveys, and 25% of our attendees completed that survey. For anyone who's ever worked in the survey world, you know that 25% participation rate in any survey is just astounding and really resonates and substantiates the information and that's being provided. One main area you may have seen or heard us talk about before is the Net Promoter Score, which is tied to the question here of how likely are you to recommend this program to someone else. You may have seen this tied to, say, hotel follow-up emails or similar companies. How likely are you to recommend them? We've started building that into all of our surveys. You probably have seen that. So it's a numbered Likert scale and a 0 to 10 concept, 0 being not likely at all, 10 being extremely likely. And the scoring is based on a negative 100 to 100 scale. So as you can see, our average score for all events over the course of the month was a 60, which is a really, really successful number, and everybody should be proud of. Here are some quick hits for you in terms of some of the comments that were received based on the question, how did you personally benefit from attending Elevate? A few notable ones include, I was able to connect with both panelists. I was also able to connect with and hopefully help a more junior alumna. So keeping in time with the concept we mentioned before about paying it forward and helping the next generation. One attendee brought his daughter and said, my daughter uncovered some internship opportunities. So as you know, we are always family friendly with our events. We're always going to encourage folks to bring other people to participate in our events with us. And we were able to add some value, not only to that person as an alum, but also to his daughter, which goes a long way with our constituents. Last one I'm going to highlight here, met new people, saw new places, and found enthusiasm for attending future events. As you all know, the biggest thing that we can do in terms of identifying success, do they come back? Do they bring people with them? And that clearly indicates that we saw some success there. Next question we asked, what did you like most about Elevate? A couple of quick highlights. This is the kind of event UConn should have been running for years. Building connectivity between alumni is critical. Great job. This really shows that we are growing and really listening to our constituents and everybody out there and providing the opportunities that people are really looking for. Another quote, it's a really neat concept to infuse professional development into a sea of programming that normally revolves around athletics. I think that a lot of people oftentimes think that, you know, the athletic is really what we focus on. And as I mentioned earlier, President Herbst on her various times throughout the country has always highlighted athletics as being the front porch, and really providing that career connectivity piece, I think really is something that diversifies and provides that secondary opportunity that we were hoping for. Free beer and food is good, but getting insight into a variety of issues concerning large corporations and career development was the most valuable. Now you know with our folks that when they can move past the free beer and see the true value of these events and getting insight and exposure to these companies and experts, that we've hit a home run. So I think everybody should feel really proud about the results that we have here. All in all, Elevate was such a huge hit and success, and it's because all of you and the efforts that you did to get us there. So we can't thank you enough, and we're excited to announce, yes, Elevate's coming back for year 3. So start thinking of those ideas now and what you want to see happen. Start talking to us. It's never too early to start planning for next January. All of you know all the pieces that go into this, so sooner the better. So if anybody has anything that they'd like to see there, feel free to shoot those our way. That being said, does anybody have any questions about anything tied to Elevate at this point? Feel free to type those in, and we'll get to those. And seeing none, at least at the moment, I'm going to move us along and turn this over to Matt to talk about some UConn Cares updates.
Thanks, Josh. So I know that we're approaching that magical 1 hour mark, so I will be brief. Just wanted to give you you know, the rundown of where we've been rather, and where we're headed in year 3. So first and foremost, so you know, thanks to all of you alums for what you've done to make, you know, last year, which was our 2nd year, such a great success. It really it was a landmark year for us. So basically, for those who are unfamiliar with UConn Cares, I'll quickly just talk about the concept, talk about what we did last year, and then let you know what's in store for year 3, including what are some ideas of what activities people have in the works and what we have on the slate. So for those who are unfamiliar, as I said, UConn Cares is our month-long community service initiative in April. And the goal is basically to create a way for our alums to volunteer their time for organizations and causes that they're most passionate about within their community. And also, a main goal is to, with that passion for community service, we want to connect alums to one another for that shared experience. As I said, 2018, landmark year for the program. We were up to 27 activities, 455 registrants. So basically, that was a 52% increase from our first year in 2017. So as a result, those increased numbers of events and registrations, most importantly, it led to an increase in impact on the communities, which is obviously one of the number one goals, or tied for number one, I should say. So last year, our alums, our friends and families logged over a combined 1,000 hours of service for the organizations that they're passionate about. So with that said, how is UConn Cares shaping up for 2019, year number 3? We have a total of 22 events right now with the set date and location, but there are other alumni networks in the planning phases, so there will be more information to come on that. So with the 22 events, as I mentioned, and more to come, let's just talk about where we hold these events and what causes do we support. Again, I should note these overall themes come from you who've gone out to pick different organizations to partner with, and organizations that you're passionate about to work with. So as you can see, our alumni groups across the country, we've worked with and we're working with, I should say, animal shelters, park cleanups, food banks, and even volunteering at hospitals. So we've worked with organizations that cover that broad spectrum of service to the community. So as I mentioned, we have 22 events on the roster this year so far. A big thank you for that. But as the goal is to always make UConn Cares bigger than the previous year. So hopefully the event themes that I talked about give you a better idea of the many different things that we can do in our communities. And we want you to be involved for sure. We're always looking to add events and encourage you to basically take the lead of an event of your own on behalf of UConn alumni based on your passion and imagination. We've put together all the information that you'll need to do this, so it'll be a straightforward process. The goal then, as you can see, is for an alumni point person, an alumni volunteer, to develop an event location, time and date, and work with the engagement team so we can facilitate that and get everything squared away on our end with the logistics and promotion. So to that end, we have a checklist of questions that you can send to these prospective host sites, and that'll make things easy and it'll get the process moving quickly. And as always, though, the sooner is the better. And you could first confirm information with the host site, location, the time, etc. And then after this is done, you could send that information to Josh, Chris, or myself. And then basically we'll take it from there. And on your end, on the day of the event, you'll be there to be the quarterback and lead the charge. So just a quick summary of our key dates here, with March 4 as our first national email send date. It's important to note that there definitely will be other emails and social media promotion for the other events that are added along the way. So there's definitely, again, still time to get your events in, and basically those events will receive promotion based on the time in which we're able to confirm them. So really quickly to close out, we're excited to kick off another year of UConn Cares, moving into, we're already in March, and April will be here before we know it. So, but thank you all for, your passion and your commitment to making this happen. It does not happen without all of you. And naturally, if you had any other questions about an existing event or taking the lead on a new event, please again, reach out to myself, Josh, or Chris, and we can get the ball rolling. And thank you all very, very much. And I should note before I sign off, based on popular demand, we are switching up the colors of the T-shirts this year. So everyone loves swag. So there will be new swag. Same UConn Cares logo, but a different color scheme. So stay tuned for that.
Thanks very much, Matt. I know everybody loves a free T-shirt, so we are holding our breath to find out what that's going to be.
Definitely.
All right. Rolling right along as we cruise into our last key thing for the evening, I'm going to turn things over to Lauren, who's got a quick update about game watches as we roll into March Madness.
All right. So just a quick reminder for you all, we are fast approaching March Madness. So the deadline for any kind of game watches that you want to have would be March 5th, just so we can get those rolling and get any kind of Facebook promotion going on, as well as a event registration page, which you can, of course, share via any of your social media channels. For the Final Four, should we advance, the deadline for those game watch opportunities would be March 26th. Let us know, let your liaisons know, and we will get event registration for you there. And any marketing email will go out, should we advance again, will go out hopefully a week prior to that game. And again, just another reminder that if you do ever have any kind of game watches, not even related to March Madness or Final Four, but any of the future game watches, if you need any more swag, any kind of UConn items, you feel free to reach out to me directly. We're always happy to provide that stuff to you. So those are just the quick few reminders that I have for you guys.
Thanks, Lauren. Everybody knows that if you need pom-poms, Lauren's the person to see, so make sure you let her know, and she'll send some stuff out to you, so make sure your game watch locations are set up and looking like UConn Prideville. All right. Moving on to our last piece here, just a couple of quick dates for everybody. As we roll into next week, obviously the American Conference Tournament for the women is right around the corner, and the men as well. So make sure you mark those dates down. We've also provided you with men's and women's NCAA tournament. A quick shout out as well. Please mark your calendars for UConn Gives March 27th and 28th. For those of you that may remember from last year, I should say, it is 36 hours of UConn giving. And what this is basically an opportunity for us to engage a number of constituents, whether they are alums, fans, or supporters of UConn, to try to increase some revenue opportunities for scholarships and improvements for the university. Last year, we raised over $200,000, and we're hopeful to do that again. They had over 2,300 donors, or close to 2,300 donors over the course of a 36-hour period, and many of you participated in that. You should have seen an email come out today, basically letting you know to hold the date for that. There's a number of great opportunities that are going to be tied to that during that online phone giving opportunities that'll be there. So make sure you mark your calendar for that. As we talked about, UConn Cares is the month of April. And then we are setting our final alumni volunteer call and update call for May 1st, 7 p.m. Eastern time, to try to alleviate some of the challenges we have. Obviously, we apologize to our West Coast fans and friends because of the time change. And sorry, I just saw a question come in. Mark, I'll get to you in just a second with your question as we finalize things here. August 2nd is UConn Day at the New York Yankees. As you can see, our cool giveaway this year, you are the first to see this. Nobody has seen this yet. Email marketing will be going out next week, so all of our Yankee fans, while the Red Sox still won the World Series this year, we will be taking care of you as the Red Sox come into the Bronx to take on the Yankees on August 2nd. Every single UConn alum, as of right now, it's the first 1,000 fans to sign up will get this co-branded UConn Yankee jersey. And for our Mets fans, we have another jersey this year. As you can see, the blue mock-up there for 19 on August 11th. That is going to the first 600 fans at this point, so make sure you mark your calendars and sign up for those. For those of us Sox fans, unfortunately, the Red Sox have an exclusive agreement with another university in the Boston area, so we unfortunately don't get our jerseys. But we had a World Series championship, so we can roll from that. Lastly on this calendar, welcome to the neighborhood. September 2019, again, similar to, as I mentioned with Elevate, it's never too early to start planning. In fact, some of you have already completed this and got your events set up in full. So thank you to all of you who are ahead of the game. But now's a great time to start planning those out with your liaison as well, so we can get those rolling. So moving on to the questions that did come through, we did have a question about marketing pieces that people can use to promote UConn Gives. In terms of things that can be available at events, we can definitely make sure that there's opportunities for you. There also will be ambassador opportunities where you can sign up at giving.uconn.edu. That page should be somewhat active at this point, and we can follow up. All of your liaisons can follow up and make sure you get all the most recent information about that as well, so you can promote to your networks both on social, in your local community groups, as well as print pieces as well, if there are anything that's specific that we can help with, and if they're available. Seeing no other questions or comments coming through, as everyone heads off tonight, please know that, to echo Jody's comments earlier, we cannot thank you all enough for the efforts you all give to help promote and share UConn pride throughout the country. The university truly understands that it relies heavily on all of you to be our ambassadors for UConn, and regardless of where you are. So we are so grateful for your work and for your efforts. We thank you all for attending tonight. Good luck to the groups participating in UConn Cares, and thank you for your efforts there. And we will connect again soon in May. Good night, everybody. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll talk to you all soon.